I think about this book daily. I am currently working my butt off to finish this goal. 24 books to read in 2024. And as you can see, that is one I have the highest expectations for, honestly. And I just feel like I'm gonna love. I was sobbing like a baby. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Caitlin and this is going to be my mid-year book tag. All creds to Miss Katie Whitrock, I hope I'm saying that right, who I stole these questions from. So let's just hop in because we got a lot of books to chat about and a lot of good questions to answer. So first up, we have best book I've read so far in 2024. I have a few for this one because I could not pick one because all these books I love for different reasons. First book that was my favorite of the year so far is Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. When I tell you guys I think about this book daily, I really mean it. This is just such a 5-star read for me. Everything about this book was perfection to me. I love the characters, I love the setting, I love the cover. I mean, hello. I love Abby Jimenez's writing, I love the side characters, the plot, and just how much depth there was to this story. It is easily one of my favorite books of 2024 and I don't think that's gonna change even throughout the second half. I just love this story so much and their romance. It's just such a real like soulmate connection, you can tell. So this follows Emma and Justin. Both of them kind of think they're cursed when it comes to love because all of their exes have, after the breakup, have found their soulmates, and so they kind of think they lead people to their soulmates. So they start chatting and they're both like, we're cursed. If we date then break up, then we will find our soulmates after. So that's kind of their plan, and I really enjoyed this story because both of these characters have so much to work through on their own, but they also have to grow together as well, so you get character depth throughout the relationship and then individually too. This is seriously one of my favorite books of all time now. I will be rereading this soon, hopefully, even though I just read it for the first time a couple months ago. Might be my #1 favorite book of the year. Not sure what can top this, but we'll see. Some other favorites from this year. Honestly, I always forget that I read these this year because I read them like the very start of January, but the Crescent City series by Sarah J Maas. Sarah J Maas is my favorite author ever. I literally have a tattoo for her, so I just love her so much. So entering this world was a great way to start my year because she's just a mastermind and I love her so much. This was definitely my least favorite series of hers. Like ACOTAR and Throne of Glass are ones I think of daily, but Crescent City I don't think about as frequently, but it is still one of my favorites of the year because of how much I loved it and how much I love Sarah J Maas. All of them I really enjoyed. They are all 5 stars because everything Sarah J Maas writes is a 5-star to me at this point. I still love this story. I don't even know how to go about explaining this. It's kind of like a murder mystery in Crescent City, but Crescent City kind of has a ton of different types of people living in it. There's wolves, fae, angels, shifters. They have it all. So I really enjoyed that aspect of this story because I'm someone who loves all type of fantasy people, like fairies, pirates, wolves, anything I will read about. So I really enjoyed learning about all of the different types of people in this world, and I did just love being in the Crescent City world and in Sarah's mind. And then the last favorite of the year I'm going to mention is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings. This is the last book in Magnolia and BJ's stories, so this was bound to be a 5-star read because the way this wrapped up was honestly perfection. I feel like Jessa did such a good job wrapping up their story and having them both just grow so much in this book. Like the growth in this is absolutely insane from Magnolia Parks 1 to this book. I loved it so much. I could read like double this in size about these characters. It is just pure entertainment, even though there's literally like no plot. There's like no plot, just vibes. I loved it so much. This book caused me so much pain and I love this series so much. So of course this is another favorite of the year. Okay, this next question, best sequel I've read in 2024. I don't know how well it fits in this category because I don't really know like what type of sequels I read this year that were like the best, but I've gotta say The Right Move and Caught Up. They're the second and third books in the Windy City series by Liz Tomford. I kind of didn't read the first book, so that's kind of what I'm meaning. Like I don't know how well it counts, but I love this series so much and I feel like the series is just getting to a point where it's just incredible. Like their books are only getting better and better. I really enjoyed The Right Move because, hello, it's about Ryan Shea. He is, He's literally perfection. I loved that man so much, and I feel like with Liz's books, you get so deep into the guy's brain, especially like the girl. She doesn't really focus on the girl as much. The boy is definitely more heavy in her books. You learn a lot more about the guys. I love sports romances apparently, so I just loved these books so much. Both of them were 4 to 5 star reads for me. I loved them, and they are easily just part of my new favorite series now. So new releases you haven't read yet but want to. First up, we have Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I have heard nothing but good things about this book. I have only read Flawless by her, and I didn't absolutely love it, but I loved the vibes. So I'm just kind of working up the courage to give her another chance, but I know I like her writing and her vibes and her characters. But Flawless, I just didn't love their connection, so I really need to give her another chance. And how could you not love this cover? I think this is like a billionaire small town romance. I'm sorry. That sounds incredible. I really need to get to this one. I also want to get to Leigh Bardugo's The Familiar. The only books I've read by her is Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows, and Crooked Kingdom are literally some of my favorite books ever, so I really need to read some of her other work and see how it compares. I don't know what this is about at all, and I'm gonna go in blind. I also really want to get to Listen for the Lie recently. I don't remember when exactly this came out, but it was sometime this year, so it's still a new release-ish. I've heard incredible things about this one, and I just can't wait to go into it. I don't really want to know too much about what it's about because I love going into thrillers, especially blind, but I want to say it's like a podcast or something, or like a true crime book show or something. I don't know. I also really want to get to the Paris novel, which also just came out somewhat recently. I really want to get to this one because I was just in Paris, so I've just been trying to consume all the Paris content I can. This one just sounds super interesting because she goes to Paris after I think her mom passes away, and she gets a one-way ticket and just kind of explores the city, and then something happens. I don't remember what. Oh yeah, she goes to the Shakespeare bookstore. I just cannot wait to read this because I feel like it's just gonna make me really reminisce on my trip, and I loved my trip so much, so I want to do that. And then we have my most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. First up, I feel like this is kind of everyone's most anticipated release. We have the sequel to Powerless by Lauren Roberts, Reckless. I feel like I didn't love Powerless as much as everyone else, but I still really enjoyed it, and I feel like as time has gone on, I've just appreciated and fell more in love with the book, especially after the little novella Powerful came out. I just fell much deeper into the love for this series, so I absolutely cannot wait for Reckless to come out and binge it like everyone else is going to be doing. This one is kind of random for the book I'm most excited about, but I have Under the Surface by Diana Urban. This is, again, another book about Paris, but this time it takes place in the catacombs underneath Paris. So I think our main girl gets lost in the catacombs on a class trip, and the main guy in this finds her or works to find her. Tell me that doesn't sound right up my alley. Like, I have such high expectations for this book. It is actually insane, and I may or may not be receiving my first ever ARC, and it is this book, one of my most anticipated releases ever. That's that. I'm gonna move on before I start freaking out again over that. Biggest surprise. For this one, I put the rule book. I feel like biggest surprise was more supposed to be like a positive sense, but I feel like I didn't really have many of those so far this year, but I did have a book that I was surprised kind of in a negative way about, but not really like negative, but just like not happy with, really. The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. I absolutely loved the cheat sheet. Like, I think when I first read that 2021 or 2, I gave it 5 stars, which now I don't think it would be quite 5 stars, but I did really enjoy it. So when I read this one, I did have high expectations because it is in the same world and the characters do kind of connect a bit, but I didn't end up loving it. I think I ended up giving it 2.53 stars, which is still a fine rating, but I just really didn't love this book, honestly. A lot of parts about it kind of cringed me out, and I just didn't really feel their romance or connect with the characters at all. So I was kind of surprised that I didn't love this because I was really expecting to, because all of Sarah Adams' other books I've read have been at least 4 stars, but this just wasn't that for me. Favorite new author. So a new to you author or a debut author. I don't even have to think about this question. We have Miss Abby Jimenez. I've read both of these books this year and I have loved them both so much. I think I gave yours truly like a 4.5 star, and Just for the Summer is a 5 star easily. I just fell in love with her writing, her characters, and how much depth she puts into her books. Like, each one of these is like heavy. Like, there is so much depth in these. They're heavy. heavy. And I just love that so much when romances are more deeper and like soulmate level, because I just feel like they're so much better. So yeah, there's my passion about Abby Jimenez. But next up we have newest fictional crush, Kai Rhodes. Caught up. I just finished that book the other day, and yeah, it's safe to say I'm obsessed. Moving on, a book that made me cry. I'm looking at you, AJ Fickery. This book, it started off not super emotional and kind of, I didn't love AJ Fickery at the beginning, but at the end, oh my goodness, I just fell in love with all of the characters in this book, the world, the setting, everything, and yeah, I was sobbing like a baby. It is on video, so if you want to watch, go right ahead. Yeah, the ending of this book, it was really brutal, but it did wrap up in a good way. I did really get connected to these characters, so the ending hurt a lot. A book that made me happy. Now here I am expressing my love for sports romances. We have The Fake Out, Caught Up, and The Right Move. The Fake Out was a hockey romance sequel to Behind the Net, and Caught Up and The Right Move are part of the Windy City series. These books, they just make me ungodly giddy. Like, I will just be cheesing the entire time I'm reading these type of books. So that is why I chose them for this category, because also these were just such a fun time. Like, I feel like with sports romances, you get a lot of the team aspect, and the other team members just make the stories so much better because they're all so funny and trying to hype up the guy on the team, and I love it. What more could I ask for? This next one I'm going to answer quickly because I feel like I need to stop talking about this book because it's been this entire video. We have the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I mean, how could it not be? I mean, there's a dog on the cover, the sunset, it's perfection. I'll stop talking about it. What books do I need to read by the end of the year? Well, I started off the year by putting down 24 books to read in 2024, and as you can see, I'm not doing that so well. So I need to read still. I'll just hold this here and you can read that because, yeah. Emphasis on Binding 13 here. I really need to get into that series because I feel like it's just so widely loved and I need to see what that's all about. What books do I want to reread? Well, I do actually have plans to reread 2 of these coming up very soon. I'm sorry, I just can't stop talking about it because it's my favorite book of the year. I will be rereading this hopefully by the end of the month, which for me it's June right now. When you're seeing this, it might be July. But I'm hoping to reread this when I'm on a little mini vacation. It's not really going to be giving the vibes of this cover or book, but I'm still going to be on a little vacation, so I can live vicariously through this. I also want to reread Beach Read. I need to do my annual Beach Read reread. This will be my 3rd time reading Beach Read, so that is kind of crazy. I also want to reread Throne of Glass, because I got a Throne of Glass tattoo and my obsession just got even bigger. So I do kind of want to reread Throne of Glass, but that is a huge commitment. So maybe I'll do like audiobooks, like listen to a little bit of it each day and slowly work my way through the series because I would love to spend like so much time in this world. So I want to drag it out if I do reread it. Favorite author so far this year? Moving on. Books I've been putting off. Again, Binding 13. That book just scares me. Also, I was convinced it was adult, but it's YA, which I had no clue. I don't know why that just confused my brain and makes me put it off more, but it is. Also, just all the books that are on my 24 books to read list, because I tried to make this list like books I've had for a while or just books that I have been putting off so I could motivate myself to read them, especially like The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I have not read a Mariana Zapata book yet. That's crazy. How can I be a booktuber without reading? I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I really want to get to that. Also, Things We Never Got Over. How have I not read that yet? It's been on my shelf for years. I need to get to that. So that's why I made this, because I just need motivation. Books I enjoyed with mixed reviews. So I recently listened to The Betrothed. I don't know. Every time I searched up this book, I typed it wrong. By Kira Cass, the author of The Selection. I'm a Selection stan, so that's that. But this book really had rough reviews. Like, I think the Goodreads average was 3 stars. That's pretty bad. I rated it 3 stars. I did enjoy parts of it. I found the main girl to be kind of very obnoxious, and the romance of this book was extremely fast-paced. Like, I'm talking, what are you doing, honey? But I did really enjoy it. I just like the vibes of the palace, and the world really intrigues me, and I thought it did have some interesting parts. I think I will continue the series, but a lot of the reviews were very passionate about how bad the book was. And then we have some series I want to finish before the year ends. We have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This is probably priority number 1 because I read this first book after putting it off for over 2 years and I fell in love with this series and the world and our characters, so I really need to get to the rest of the series. I also just finished Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha something, and I really want to read the sequel. Honestly, I really enjoyed this book, and where it left off, I really want to pick up the second one really soon, so I placed a hold for it on Libby and it should be due to me soon. So I'm so excited to continue this because I really enjoyed this book. Solid 4-star I gave it. I also want to continue Abby Jimenez's books, the series that this one's in. I don't remember what books they are, but when I was reading this, there was some crossover and I was confused because I hadn't read those books first. So I really want to finish that because also I just love her and I need to read all of her books now. I also want to continue the Chestnut Spring series. I didn't necessarily love Flawless, but I loved the world and just enjoyed the vibes of the book. So I really want to give the rest of the series a chance. I've been in the middle of the second one for like this entire year and have made very little progress. So I hope to finish this series. 5-star predictions for the rest of the year. I've kind of touched on these ones that I'm anticipating. We have Under the Surface. That is one I have the highest expectations for, honestly, and I just feel like I'm gonna love. Reckless by Lauren Roberts. And also, just last night, Haley Pham just read this and gave it 6 stars, and I feel like we have really similar book tastes, so there I am assuming that this is gonna be 5 stars for me as well. Do you think you're gonna reach your reading goal? Are you gonna change it? I am currently working my butt off to finish this goal. I have been listening to audiobooks basically 24/7, so I'm really trying to get back on track, but currently I'm 10 books behind. I know. My goal is 100 books. I hit it last year and I really want to hit the goal. If I don't hit the goal, I feel like I'm going to be really disappointed in myself, which obviously I shouldn't. It's not about the number, but to me, when I set a goal, I have to reach it. So I'm really going to try, but right now it's not looking like I'm going to hit it. Any new goals? Not really. I did make some in my journal. 100 books, 3 nonfiction books, buy less than 5 books per month, less than physical TBR and DNF books. I have not read a single nonfiction book yet, so that's not looking good. So I hope to maybe read 1. Maybe I'll lessen the goal to 1. We'll see. I really want to do that. Some other kind of goals, just keep using audiobooks and really try and focus on reading instead of doing other stuff with my time. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll leave all the questions down below if you want to do this for yourself, or if you don't want to make a whole video, just answer them in the comments and I would love to chat to you about your answers. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.